Nigeria's political space is witnessing yet another gang-up of frontline opposition political parties in the country after losing their respective bids to defeat the ruling All Progressives Congress APC and form a government at the center, largely due to what observers say is their inability to set aside their hardline ambitions to grab power at all costs. Apparently motivated by the combined votes amounting to 14.5 million garnered by the three leading political parties, PDP, Labour Party and NNPP at the last elections, and as against the 8.5 million votes polled by the APC. Proponents of the serial talks around the formation of a mega opposition political party to wrestle power from the incumbent holders, led by a professor of political economy, Pat Utomi, and now on another experiment. This time around, according to the arrowheads of the mega party formation, they are in talks with the leading opposition candidates at the last election, Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, and Rabiu Kwankwaso, to actualize this dream, which they say was all about the people and not individual political ambitions. On Daily Politics tonight, we ask, can the latest move deeper from the failed attempts at delivering a major opposition platform? Have the key actors learned political lessons the hard way, and are they ready for amend? And joining us for the conversation is one of the behind-the-scenes midwives of the mega party formation talks, Dr. Yunusa Tanko. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Before we commence the conversation, here are some tidbits. Nigeria's Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, has been reportedly shunned invitation by the Code of Conduct Bureau over an ongoing investigation bordering on alleged breach of the Code of Conduct for public officers. The minister, who was scheduled to meet with interrogators at the CCB headquarters, Federal Secretariat, Abuja, on Tuesday, was said to have failed to show up at the bureau between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. as arranged. According to spokesperson for the CCB, Veronica Kato, the minister's interrogation will be rescheduled for a later date following his memo to the Bureau citing national assignment. And elsewhere, Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT Nyesom Wike, has summoned an emergency security meeting following the worsening security situation in the nation's capital. Bandits have been breaking into houses and picking up residents from the comfort of their homes. The incidents, which have created tension, reached its height when some residents, including a 13-year-old secondary school student, were killed over failure to meet deadline of ransom payment. We now take a break, and when we return, our conversation begins. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. And now to our talking point. The mega opposition political party. And we have in the studio Dr. Yunusa Tanko.
Good evening.
Yeah.
Good evening, Nigerians.
Beyond being one of the midwives, he is also the senior spokesperson of the Labour Party Presidential Campaign Council. Thank you for joining us once again.
Thank you very much for having me.
Right, before we start the conversation proper, you've had some of our tidbits, the first and the second, all have to do with ministers in this cabinet. The first one, Interior Minister, who shunned, an invitation by the CCB. He cited national assignment as reason for his inability to honor that invitation. What do you make up with that? Okay,
let me just start by solidarizing with the families of those who are children who are kidnapped, Nabia and the other lady who was also killed. It's saddening that this is happening at the epic center of our nation democracy, which is Abuja. In the souls of the departed, rest in peace. But I think we have a very big task. Now the bandits have started coming into the seat of power. That shows you the level of desperation and determination they have. And because we have not been able to cope this particular situation from the other states that are happening, and that has now dovetailed into happening in Abuja.
That's right.
I think there's a urgent call. For me, I believe the Nigerian
even though it's one of it's the second tidbit, we talked about the Minister of FCT summoning an emergency meeting.
Okay, and then that of the Minister for Interior. I think it's quite appalling if a minister could decide not to honor an invitation, the scheduling, I'm kind of citing official assignment as an excuse. Be as it may, the minister in court, I saw one of his interview, and then he said he resigned from the office of the company in which he was a director before, and now but his wife is a director.
The company in question.
Company in question, and that there's a conflict of interest in it. So I think honorably in other countries where democracy held sway, such situation the minister usually ordinarily resign, and then you just give way. But of course, in Nigeria, everybody decides the level of impunity is so high, and nobody is about to do anything about it. And that is one of the reasons why people can really try to escape by citing other offices as a key reason why they are not in a particular place.
Would he actually escape? You know, some are already given the president kudos for taking some major steps, to suspend, those involved in such corruption scandals. We've seen how he suspended the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Social Intervention or so, and then the DG of INSIPA, that is the National Social Investment Program agency.
Not being derogative in a way, I wouldn't give any kudos.
Okay.
This is something that we ought to have been doing long even before now. And if there's sincerity in the purpose of what we intend to do, the office of the presidency should start with themselves. Okay. When the president starts with himself, it shows direction that how the other ones will follow. Because the others feel as if they can do anything and get away with it. So they follow the tales of the president as the way it is, and then they go away with it. I give you an example. When you think about budgeting so much humongous sum of money to your office of the first lady and your own office, buying a yacht and all of those ones, spending money that your appropriation that is not supposed to be at the first place, it tells you a signal that what your other people will follow. So for me, there's no kudos in this. If the president decides to cut his own expenditure and cut all of it, this is what we expect them to do, because we are almost in a recession. The country is not making any money. So why will people be spending so much
talking about accountability, this is not what we obtained or what was obtainable in the past administration, the immediate past administration.
With all due respect, don't forget that even the Buhari administration arrested or discharged his own secretary of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So this thing just happened just like that on a very surface level, and all of that. Then before you knew it, the Minister of Humanitarian was cutting away so much $1 million with the level of kind of insult where they said they are feeding children when they are even in holidays. This happened in this country. So we have seen that using that particular ministry as a conduit part to siphon money belonging to the Nigerian people. So for me, there is no kudos. It's just a matter of how the government want to lead. If they show purposefulness in some of leading and being exemplifying that particular fact and saying that, look, from today, I am not interested in any money. I'm not interested in any of your allocation. I'm not interested. What I have is enough for me. Nobody who dares to do what they are doing at the moment.
Finally, on that, are you saying that nothing good will come out of it? You think it's just
it's a new usual surface? Using her as an example, then probably everybody will now start rearranging himself on how to steal them more, but in a secret way, but not exactly doing the right thing. Look, we know all the loopholes. Every government knows all the loopholes. If you want to budget for the purchase of a bag of rice, we know how much it costs. But the budget that you give is that you can give 100,000 naira for a bag of rice and explain that the reason why the 100,000 naira is for a bag of rice is that you are paying money for handling and all of that one. And then the money will go to people's pockets. It has been done before, so we have seen it. So there's nothing so new, except, of course, if the government itself, starting from the office of the president, cut down his costs. And in fact, what stopped even the president, after all, he's a rich man by all standards. Why even saying that I'm not taking any of your money, I want to just give it to the poor people? These are examples.
Or perhaps slash it by 50%.
Exactly. Okay. These are the practical examples that we can show that you are really ready for an action.
All right. For the concerning the insecurity in Abuja.
Yes.
The minister is in a meeting with perhaps those that matters in terms of the security architecture and so on.
Yes.
It's a serious concern. Bandits have infiltrated Abuja and unleashing mayhem, on innocent citizens, especially those at the outskirts. They have been having sleepless nights. Houses are being, broken, and then people, I mean, these bandits are going in and cutting away people and valuables and so on. Some say, the alarm actually came yesterday when a commissioner or so, talked about the fact that the minister is not being fed with what is actually happening in terms of the security situation, and now he's summoning it. Does that confirm the initial concern that he wasn't in tune with the reality concerning the deterioration security?
Is it not laughable when you say that the honorable minister is not being fed with the security issues? Oh, but he's been fed with the information as regard to how to reschedule payment of lands and all other, or payment of when you park on the street, people will pay money on the street. You have that particular information, but you don't have information about the security. You feel probably Abuja is more secure than any other place. No, sir, it's not true. It's just that they pick and choose the areas in which they have interest in. If they were interested in the security, look, security is a very large issue. You cannot think about Abuja FCT alone to secure it. Then everybody will be running into Abuja. Those who want to attack you know that that's where you are running to, and then they come after you. So you start defending from the outside.
Yes.
You start defending from all the other states so that they will not encroach into the FCT. Look, the people living in Kano State are human beings, for crying out loud. People living in Katsina are human beings. People living in Enugu are human beings. People living in Oyo, in Badan are human beings. When you don't protect those particular areas, you give room for them to come grab you where you are seated. So that is just the situation. I just learned that there's a lady, two girls from Katsina, they are being killed or are being kidnapped on their way to school. So you cannot sit back at your home and thinking that you send your daughter or your son to Jigawa, for example, to go to school, and then you are sure that you will come back safe. No, the thing is this. It's either there is a conspiracy against Nigeria within and outside, or some people are not doing their job the way they ought to do. I give you an example. From Buhari to go to Kaduna or Jere, there are policemen and army on those particular road. There is a battalion already seated in the junction of Buhari to enter Buhari town, and then they are all there. In fact, there's a barracks. There's a barrack by that particular junction.
Even though it was the same axis where there was an incident where, the bandits, if you like, or the terrorists ambush, military personnel.
And here we are, in a country where we can use drone to only bomb some people who are just doing Idil Maulud. And then we cannot use the same drone to know exactly what is going on around our ferry. Benungwari in Kaduna is just within him. It has been condoned for years and they cannot. I just saw a video where police uniform and army uniform are being used by this particular bandit. So for me, there is inefficiency and then our security apparatus have not been given the resources enough for them to do their duty, or those who are conspiring against the state are getting away with it, and then the government is helpless. And if that should be the case, then there must be a revisiting of our security apparatus.
Right, okay. Either the government is not in charge or the security architecture is porous.
Exactly.
Okay, let's delve into our conversation tonight. We're looking at another attempt, at forming a mega opposition party in Nigeria. I know you happen to be one of the people behind the scene talking about this merger or alliances even before the 2023 election.
Correct.
At some point, you came up with what you call the NC Front.
That's right.
At another, you have a shadow kind of arrangement, to checkmate the excesses of the existing government.
Exactly.
And so on. And today, here you are with another talks. These same talks, involve the same actors you're talking about before. I mean, you were discussing with before. The likes of the Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi, the NNPP presidential candidate Rabi Musa Konkoso, you've met before now. Why do you think that, your renewed attempt would yield any result?
Because it is better to talk and work on something that can yield us result than to keep quiet. The country is already going into a kind of situation of, God forbid, almost non-reconcilable situation from the level of what would I call it, impunity in which governance is being railed out to the Nigerian people. So,
how do you mean now?
Exactly.
We have a government that says it has a renewed hope for Nigeria. The
renewed hope that has not brought in any fruits or positive fruit to the Nigerian people. How can you explain to me? We're just talking about the level of insecurity right now in this country. We're talking about people who have found themselves in position of power, stealing government money belonging to every one of us with impunity.
Allegedly, because they are yet to be,
allegedly,
found
use allegedly, because it has been established from the fact, and then the EFCC came out with some of the report of money belonging to individual in their account, and you want to wonder, what kind of business these particular people do? With all due respect to former minister or the suspended minister, Betta Edu, she has so much money that what the FCC said he had in her account. He rolled it out, $25 billion, $2,000, $300,000, pounds and sterling, all in one person's account. Come on. So those are the kind of things that intrigue and make you feel as if, do we really have a government? And she's just one out of many of them.
So are you saying that you're going to import special species of politicians?
What I'm just saying is that, you see, when the head has a lot of issue hanging on him on terms of credibility and in terms of his own wealth, you will expect that probably he will not be different from the people that he'll come along with it as his own.
But it's demonstrating commitment to deal with the issue of corruption, you know, by standing firm and then taking decisive decisions against even his cabinet members.
Let me tell you how you are decisive in taking the issue of corruption to the highest level. First of all, you come out to the public and declare your assets, what you have, you as a person. You have a code of conduct bureau. Thank God that one of the ministers has been invited. You tell the Nigerian people, I own A, B, C, D. I did when I was contesting for presidency.
Perhaps maybe you don't have much to...
No, I was proud to explain what I have.
Right.
I was proud because it's my strength. Because I am trying being truthful to the Nigerian people. I tell them that this is what I have. They can go and verify. Peter Obi can tell you what he has. You can go and verify. If you have $1 billion and all, let the people know. Then you draw a line.
Okay.
You cannot say, this is what I have. If I go beyond this level, additional, apart from the salary in which I own, you have the right to question me. So also, I ask every of my ministers to do the same thing. I'm appointing you, but every one of you must give us the detailed account of what you do.
Because you have set the example.
Yes, that builds trust. Okay. That set the ball rolling for everybody to follow. But where you are not being, you yourself, you are being kept in secrecy and shrouded in a kind of a modified way of survival. So everybody that comes along with you that way, after all, my boss is like that, so I can be the same thing.
But why do you think, these talks around the mega opposition party will change the narrative? The same politicians you are harboring, or the same politicians you are in talk with, have held position, at some point in governance, either as governors or as ministers.
Yes, of course.
So why do you think they are different?
You see, a study has shown to us, some of us who are scholars have already established the fact that in the Nigerian politics, every year, the level of impunity and manipulation gets more scientific than the other year. At a point in time in Nigeria,
there's advancement.
Yes, an advancement. No matter what, I'm privileged to have a discussion with one of the INEC chairmen once. He was telling me that, look, we come out with all kinds of ways in trying to block the loopholes. But politicians like you pointed at me, always look for another way to decode whatever it is that we are doing. So the process of manipulation, stealing of the people's right and mandate have gone more scientific than you can imagine. Wallahi tallahi, nobody will have told me that apart from all of the arrangement that INEC did towards the 2023 general election, that an idea of glitch will come to anybody's mind. It beat my imagination. Because we were expecting that the result would be... And the election of the Federal House of Representatives and Senate went very well, And also when we were expecting that...
But we are dealing with a general election.
That's what we are saying, that we're dealing with scientific manipulators. And so every year, the thing increases. And it comes. So if you, who want to take power for the interest of the people, do not sit back and develop an idea to counter that particular scientific way of manipulation and stealing of people's vote, then it will be so difficult for us. Remember at a point in time, in fact, at a point in time, members of the Federal House of Representatives in Nigeria were allegedly 419ers. And they become stronger.
At some point, the former president said they
become so strong.
They all have issues to answer.
Yes,
also.
they have.
I remember at some point talking about drug addicts and the rest, drug pushers and the rest of it.
They now have power. They've already instituted themselves into Federal House of Reps, State Assembly and all. So they have now corrupted the system in such a way that even the judiciary, the INEC, and then the police, you cannot even trust anybody. So they corrupted the system in such a way that even when they come, they will tell you, let us do the election. Whether you win or lose, go to the court. So they've already sanctified. So this now becomes very expedient for those who are interested in taking power for the interest of the people, emancipate the people. The people are begging.
Is that the reason why the phase of this new talks, talking about Professor Pat Utomi, is talking about a clean slate, starting from, starting all over again?
Exactly.
So how do you start all over again? You're talking about, legislative challenges, if you like, constitutional issues, impediments that would not allow you to get, the votes count and so on. And this has to do with the National Assembly. So how do you intend to change the narrative?
Very good. Starting clear is like looking at where we made mistakes of not consolidating or the arrangement that we started in 2022. Or 2021, therefore. We started the arrangement for the third force, 2023, 21, 22. Before 23 general elections. So we were close to having a new political party before time caught up with us in terms of arrangement and the processes of INEC.
Was it about time? Because I understand, as you rightly mentioned, a number of people also know this, that it has been very difficult to get the key actors, especially the presidential candidate or hopefuls then, to set aside their ambitions in the interest of the people. All stood their ground. I'm not going to step down for this, I'm not going to deputize for this, and so on and so forth. And that's what led to the collapse of the whole talks.
That's to tell you also that at that point in time, they didn't test their capacity in the hands of the general public. They didn't. Because at the election now, they test their capacity. And we saw what Engineer Rabi's Musa Kwankwaso was allocated at the point in time. We saw what Peter Obi I call them allocated.
Was able to get
No. He could have won more than that.
Who are you talking about?
Engineer Rabi could have won more than that. And I know
his
Peter Obi
is largely in Kano. His home state Kano, for instance. You expect him to win in Bauchi or in
with the growing numbers of what he did, I was expecting him to have won more than that. And we also knew that we in the Obedient Movement and Labour Party won more than what we allocated. We knew that one. That one is a fact. And even those
Why couldn't you establish this at the court?
Exactly.
You went
now,
through the processes.
That is where the processes is being manipulated. Those who are to allow true confirmation of facts and figures were being conspired with. And so it becomes difficult.
How do you establish that?
Exactly now.
Because I
am a state witness.
The same courts are being thumped up, now for what they did.
Because of the pressure that's already been established. With all due respect to our court, I can tell you authoritatively, if Kano was not declared for labor for NNPP as of day before yesterday, we would have been talking about something else now. I can assure you that one.
You mean it is because
the people will have risen up?
Are you saying that
the people will have risen up because they knew they won the election?
Are you saying that the judgment wasn't a product of
somebody told
reasoning,
me something? Somebody told me something. He said that every judgment, as we stand today, every judgment that has an interest of the government will be tabled to the president's table for him to look at whether it favors him or his interest in it or not. It may be allegation. It may be allegation. Yes, it may be. Because we have seen a situation where the judiciary at the point in time now are giving some kind of judgment that is neck-breaking. But as it is now, the people are rising up to challenge wrongdoing. And so they've sent signal to whoever wants to listen that they are not agreeing to anybody anymore, if that is the new slogan.
Isn't that what is expected about the apex court? Because it is the superior court of the land.
Yes.
And the essence it is there is to correct if there are...
Exactly. So when they do not do what they are expected to do, people rise up and change. They've raised a lot of warning that if you do not do the right thing, don't blame us for what we will transpire after. And so therefore, they are now careful. Even the government in power need to be careful. Because the way it is, there's hunger in the land, insecurity in the land, there's impunity in governance, there is completely neglect of the Nigerian people. This is happening. We are seeing it, and still the Nigerian people are quiet. They're still quiet. But that is a recipe for danger, because gradually it keeps on zooming to a point that people will rise up to challenge the status quo if their right and to survival is being impugned upon, which is what we are seeing at the moment.
Okay, so you are seeking to provide an alternative.
Yes, of course.
And you are bringing the same set of people that you've had talks with before. At some point, I heard you also talking about the fact that, one of the presidential candidates, the leading one, so to speak, he should not have his way, And you are the same people, the proponents of these talks. Are you not taking side, even before the talks?
Let me tell you, I've been on the proponent of emancipating the Nigerian people all my life in my own political. It's not for my own personal interest, but the interest of the collective. If this country is better and comfortable for all of us, I am more happier than even becoming in a position of power, because it's more dangerous to be in a position of power than to just be a follower, because you will enjoy more than to be in the position of what I can assure you. Even in terms of religion, there's a lot of questions that will be asked on you as a leader than you as a follower. That is it. So, but if eventually I do find myself, I will be praying that God should guide me in a position where I will do for the interest of the people. That has been my interest. And so therefore, for those people that we have looked after for long, like His Excellency
former Vice
President Atiku Abubakar, and then His Excellency Engineer Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, and His Excellency Peter Obi. These are the forerunners. These are the runners who have seen that they are interested. Don't forget, Atiku Abubakar has been in the vanguard of defending the interests of democracy, whether you like him or not. Consistently, he has been. And Engineer,
are you invariably saying that he's going to be the face of this?
I'm just giving you an example. I'm just giving you an example. And then Engineer Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso have been interested in mobilizing in the interest of the common person on the street, defending their rights and changing those who do not have hope entirely and giving them hope. Peter Obi has been accountably accredited with his level of accountability and prosperity in thinking about how you can mobilize Nigerian people using the youth and all the God-given resources that we have in a very positive way. That has been, you cannot take away things from this particular individual.
Let's take them one after the other.
Yes.
Atiku Abubakar.
Yes, please.
He was unable to even manage the crisis within his political party, which led to the breakaway, of the G5 government.
That is internal party democracy.
Yeah. If he failed to do that,
that's internal party
because
democracy.
Of perhaps his own interest of becoming president, how do you think he will jettison, if you like, or he will set aside his ambition in 2027?
If, for example, like we have just said, we've already been able to identify his minuses as a human being, which is okay, then he now decides to be a father. A father because he is, in the fact that he has been defending in the interest of democracy for a very long time. Don't forget, he stopped the idea of a third timer and all of those ones. He did all of that. And even as a being, he tried to put credibility on the system by making sure that those who are found credible, who are found wrong in terms of forgery and all, he's still challenging using his own state resources. That is credibility for a defender of a democracy. And so therefore, if he brought this particular this great credit that he has, bring it to the table. Say, look, this is what I've done, and people can give him kudos to that. Engineer Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, for all the love that you have for the people, and for all of the way in which you have transformed Kano, for example, and every facet of this country, wherever he has treaded, he has always been interested in protecting the interests of the Talakawas and the people. Some people even call him the populist. Now, you bring in a Peter Obi who will have the technical know-how in collaborating all of this one to a protective use, and together, all of us can sit down and talk. How do we midwife and take Nigeria back for the interest of the people? These particular people can't do that. And we believe if they come together, they decide which way to go, many Nigerians will be happier. Remember, at a point in time, we almost got it through. For having all Peter Obi and Kwankwaso ticket, Nigerians would have gone to sleep 12 o'clock once the election would have been done.
But that did not come to pass.
Yes, but then that doesn't mean that we are not talking now.
Okay.
If we have realized our mistakes, we can be talking. We cannot decide which way to go as a collective.
We are subjecting the inabilities, imperfections and all of that, and the challenges that led to the collapse of the initial talks.
Yes.
We have to continue on this trajectory when we return from the break. In case you're just joining us, the program is Daily Politics and it's coming to you live from Trust TV here in Abuja, Nigeria's capital. And we've been interfacing with one of the midwives of the current talks around mega opposition political party in Nigeria, talking about Dr. Yunus Tanko. We'll take a break. When we return, the conversation continues. Stay with us. Thank you very much for staying with us on Daily Politics. You can also watch our follow us on our social media platforms in case you miss any part of the show. You can also watch us live on YouTube. And today we're looking at formation of mega opposition party in Nigeria. We're looking at the talks. Are they genuine talks or just the normal rhetorics? And we have in the studio Dr. Yunusa Tanko. Just before the break, you're talking about some of the reasons why you think this time around, you may succeed in this coming together. You talked about some of the credentials, if you like, of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and what he has done in recent times, to better the democracy that we operate in this country. But one thing you didn't tell us, perhaps, is whether you talked about, being or playing the father role. What you didn't tell us is whether he's shelving his admission 2027 for a more formidable, right? Should I say more formidable? Maybe a more acceptable, if you like, a candidate or one who can be easily sold around the country. Is that the position? Is he shelving his ambition?
No. I cannot speak for his own interest.
Based on the interaction.
No. Our interaction is most importantly is for us to come together and rescue Nigeria. That's our interest at the moment now. So, and I'm saying that further talks can now enlarge from the discussion from this particular three very important gladiators and say, look, this is the best way we can do this. And don't forget that it was His Excellency Atiku Abubakar that actually, first of all, also confirmed the issue of us coming together. He made that particular more public. After all, after we have already led that particular struggle for some time now, but at least he had come to realize that the best way to go is collaboration.
That is after all of them faced defeat in the 2023 election.
Not even defeat. You all know that we've challenged this particular case in court. As far as we are concerned, there was no defeat. It was a manipulation, but we are forced to accept it because we are Democrats. That has been our position. Even
though that's the position.
That's our position.
And that's our position. Able to change the position.
That's our position.
Using legal instrumentality.
Yes, that's our position. So as a Democrat, we accept it based on the democracy. But if we have had our way, this wouldn't have stand.
You're talking about the other key actors.
Yes.
Your principal, Peter Obi.
Yes.
The initial talks between Peter Obi and Konkusu collapsed as a result of the fact that the two of them, did not agree for themselves, so to speak. No one agreed to step down or to deputize for the other. Dr. Rabi Musa Konkusu was quoted, if was heard, at the Chatham House, talking about his reason for not, stepping down, if you like, his ambition. He said, in terms of political credentials, he is superior than your principal, and he would not step. And all of that. And then we've also seen the adamant nature, or the position taken by Peter Obi not to succumb to any second, if you like, role in that. So how do you think people who have held this belief, who have had this notion, and who have held tenaciously this position, would reconcile and think along this mega opposition? When
the country is in dire needs of leadership, when the country is facing almost extinction, when the country is facing almost dysfunctioning and disintegration, it becomes urgent for those who claim to be leaders, who believe in the country, to salvage it. And so this is the point in which we have reached. So therefore, if the three of them can sit down and talk to themselves, they could come to a reality of the way to go. This is what we are asking for.
Are you seeing any sign? Because
of course. If for example, the former vice president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria could say that after the election,
we need to come together.
And then Engineer Musa says that yes, there's need for us to salvage this particular country. Peter Obi is saying it's not about me, it's about making Nigeria works. That is a meeting point.
But talk is cheap,
That is a meeting.
Agreeing to the terms is another.
At the point in time, nobody is talking about. You just alluded to the fact that everybody was just going on his own way. But they've tested the water they've seen. But now Nigeria is at a crossroad, and they are leaders, and they know that they have followers. Two of them have 6 million votes. Yeah,
we talked about it.
Yes,
they have.
That's a combination. You say 14 million. That's a combined
14.5 million
as combined.
as against 8.5 million.
So they almost double even what the president
that is
if
they had come together.
Come together, fine. But it may not even be the same when it comes to even that particular period of time. It may not be. But then, as a fact, they have enormous support of the Nigerian people. That is a strength. Okay. And that, of course, can be a talking point. Before you are not talking, but now you know the capacity in which you have. Let's look at it. How do we work it out together so that we can wrestle for the interest of Nigeria? It has become expedient. The fact still remains that it is not only about them. There are many Nigerians who are queuing up, begging that this particular situation should happen, that all of them should sit down and talk and give us a leadway. This particular government, with all due respect, cannot take us to the destination.
Still talking about the key actors, Dr. Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, the NNPP presidential candidate, was quoted also to have said that, especially before, or is it after the judgment, the Supreme Court judgment, that is ready to work even with the APC, for instance. And there are speculations, if you like, some direction around the possibility of him and his group decamping from the party or so. So for someone who is talking about working with any other political party aside the opposition parties, how do you think he has, a genuine interest?
When we reach that particular road, we will cross it. When we come together and we're talking and he said he's not interested, which I know he has not told any one of us. And probably you have your own sources.
He didn't also foreclose the possibility of aligning with him.
Exactly. So he will look at his pros and cons. He look at those who will benefit, because I can tell you for sure that Engineer Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso is interested in the emancipation of the poor people. And if that should be the case, they have no any other place than to work with those who want to take power for the interest of the people. He has exemplified. And so also has Peter Obi showed this particular gargantuous love for the common man on the street, with accountability record and all. So in that case, where would any one of them go to rather than them coming together to find a way of salvaging the situation? Remember that what I'm saying is that they are interested in salvaging this country. This country is in dire need of leadership. And if you decide to go, and I've listened to one of the clergymen, with all due respect, which I agree to, said that this particular syndrome, if you can't beat them, join them. He said, don't join them. Because if you join them, you are going to hell. Brother, what you are saying, that rather go back and pray. Pray and then work. Work together with people who have the same decision with you. God will feast you very well so that you can be able to do the right thing. But don't go to the issue of if you can't beat them, join them. Just like we have seen.
But a number of them have already joined, and others are still joining. Then
that is what I'm quoting the clergyman. It's not my words. So the clergyman that is saying Quranic position that if you join them, you are going to hell because God will deal with you because you know that you are doing something against the interest of the people. How do you explain to me when people cannot eat 3 square meals and you're cutting away their money? Every now and then you cannot account for the money meant for people that were supposed to be given to them. They cannot go to they cannot take care of their medicals. They cannot be secured. Their children who they toil and work for are being kidnapped and being killed almost on a daily basis. And then you say that, because I cannot beat them, I join them. Join them to kill, join them to steal, join them to manipulate, join them also to eat from the fruit of the labor or the hard work of our collective resources, and you say probably you want to join them. I pray to God Almighty Allah to change their minds and so that they will not join with those who are going to hell. That is the clergyman's position, not me.
Yes, but then, looking at the position, and Nigerians will not forget, he is so quick, how another movement, that is currently being condemned, if you like, or being said to have failed Nigerians, the same storyline, the same direction, the same trajectory. When the political parties, that formed the APC came together, it was the same song they sang. Nigerians, we have to rescue Nigeria, we have to come together, we have to do this, we have to do that. And today they are on
and they didn't do it.
Okay.
They became worse than what they were doing.
So how do you think Nigerians will...
Balarabe Musa said, we were fighting for General Muhammadu Buhari at the time. People call him anarchist, people call him a dictator, people call him all kinds of names and all. He now said, at this point in time, he's the only one who have shown resilience and determination to change the dynasty of our country. Unfortunately, that's what we have at the moment. So let us work seriously to ensure that Muhammadu Buhari become the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, with we behind the scene giving him the support that he needs so that he can deliver. Unfortunately, when he took over, most of us that were supposed to give the particular backing and support were completely kept by the other side. Some other new kind of human beings came in, and then we have 3 musketeers who ended up becoming the deciding de facto of what governance was. And so, General Muhammadu Buhari led us in a way that most of us are not happy. But we didn't stop. We continue to challenge.
But how different is this
that is the situation in which the APC also found itself. And the APC did not do what it promised that it was going to do for the people. Probably they have become infiltrated. So we've learned from these particular 2 lessons. What we are saying is that in this particular dispensation, there must be a modus operandi that must be documented, given to the positions of law and order. And so these are the X, A, B, C, D that we agreed to do for the people.
I had, for instance, Professor Pat Utomi talking about the fact that whoever is coming to join this gang up or this coalition,
I will not call it gang up. Emancipation of the Nigerian
will have to have a role to play.
Yes.
I will have to agree on the role he's going to play.
Exactly.
And that has to be documented.
Yes.
How do you intend to do this?
Well, most of the people, we can't domicile this agreement in the court of law to show cleanness and fairness that this is what we intend to do. At any point in time, if any one of them find to breaking this particular action that he either give way or be arrested. It's simple. Because Nigeria needs people who are determined to do the right thing. And you know, the most painful part of it is that if you do the right thing, you can be rest assured you will enjoy your life. But if you do the right thing, you can also be assured that you are always afraid that somebody will come at you. Why don't you do the right thing so that you'll be enjoying life before God calls you? It's simple.
Okay, you're also talking about starting afresh, for instance. He did mention that what we have today in Nigeria, it's more of a vehicle, for political, for the purpose of capturing power, for state capture and all of that. And he wants, or rather the new talks is centered around the need to move away from that. How can you move away from that, looking at the fact that the political class, if you like, or the political atmosphere or space in Nigeria is saturated with people who are interested in what comes to them first? And
because the system has already been bastardized in such a way that it doesn't work for the people. It is the system that is, the government is not working for the people, it's the system that is working for certain few. But what we are trying is that let the system work for the interest of the people. Let somebody wake up in the morning and he knows that he has a job to do. And if he has a job to do, this is cleaning, he do it diligently and he's being paid for it. And when the money is being paid for it, he can go to the market and buy goods at an affordable prices. And if he goes back home, he knows that there is going to be a power source in which he can charge his phone, he can do other business, and he can enjoy his life so that he can wake up as strength, as good as a human being. These are the simple thing that Nigerians need.
These are the same history, the same rhetoric, the same promises that are being made to Nigeria.
But the fact still remains is that those who have been making this particular rhetoric have not been in position of power.
No, today some of them are in the position of power, for instance.
Some of them, but majority of those who are already in power,
those proponents of the renewed hope,
yes,
have been talking about, putting foot on the table.
You said some
They've
of
been
them.
talking about
some of them.
securing
But you
Nigeria.
see, it has to start with the head. The head must be the one that will exemplify this particular rhetorics that you call them. If you put them on a fact and table and say, look, I am an example. I have done this. I've done this before. The Liu Kuan and then the man from Mauritania and all of those ones, they are not different from all of us. Nelson Mandela is just a normal human being, just like, he set an example. He said, I'm going to do this particular term, and he did, and he left. Okay. You hold people accountable to what they say they will do. Okay. And when they do it, you can see finding. So if we have not found that particular leader, we keep on searching. We keep on struggling for you. Okay,
we've had a reaction of the All Progressives Congress, saying that, the proponents of this mega party talks are the same people who have serially failed, in their bid to come up with a strong mega opposition party in Nigeria. They have done this severally and it failed. And to them, it is even laughable to talk about it.
I like that particular position. The same position that they took when we said Peter Obi was coming and then we are going to win election. They doubted until when we hit them where they ended up manipulating the vote. The same situation where they will find themselves where we'll just take them out of power because they are not doing what they are doing for the interest. In fact, it is better for them to be thinking that we cannot do anything. So it's the element of winning any war is element of surprise. So let them continue in that particular life. We are very happy with that.
So you are likely going to instill them, or rather actualize this surprise?
By the grace of God. But because of God, you see, the thing is that he who is the people has a land to receive, because our intention is very, very clear. It's not about self-egoing or self-inducement or self-entrepreneurship for us only. It's for the collective. And so the collective are more than those who have already put them in perpetual poverty.
Professor Pat Utomi has, as he said, engaged with the NNPP presidential candidate. It's also engaged with the Labour Party presidential candidate. Has he met with Atiku Abubakar? And if he did, what is the next line of action? From his own words, he said he has met with his former vice president, Atiku Abubakar. And I'm very sure I know when he met with Engineer Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, because actually I organized it in such a way. I can tell that one for sure. So if he said he has met them and met with them and had a talk, yes, in his capacity as one of the foremost leaders in this country, he is not mixing word. And he must have heard what they are told. Major reason is that we all agree that we must rescue this country, and we must sit down and talk about rescuing this country. Then the next agenda will be who will lead. Well, who will lead the rescue agenda? Thank you very much. On that note, we have to come to a close on this conversation. Thank you, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And viewers, that's a wrap on today's package. We sincerely hope you found the conversation engaging and informative. And be sure to join Daily Politics Live, airing every weekday, and also on our social part as a special package on Friday, during which we open our telephone line for you to comment on national issues. Once again, thank you, Dr. Yunus Otong, for coming. Thank you very much for having me. And thank you, Nigerians, for watching. I am Shafiu Suleiman.